I feel like this is probably about to be the biggest week in the game so far. We have a brand new HOH and 3 huge new targets on the block. Not to mention, some of this gameplay is starting to get quite nasty and it may just heat up even more. There's going to be a lot to talk about today, but before we get started with all that, of course I'm going to ask if you would please hit that subscribe button below. Also, if you've been enjoying my content this season, it would mean a lot to me if you would consider donating to my channel. Of course, it is 1000% optional. It's just that watching the feeds all the time and gathering all the clips takes a lot of time and effort. And donations go a long way to help with that, but if you can't, then no worries because likes and subscribes are totally free. Now, without further ado, let's get started. So as we just saw, Zach was evicted from the Big Brother house in an 8-2 vote. Now, this was a surprising vote to me for a few reasons. One, right before the eviction even happened, Keanu had been swearing up and down that he wanted to throw the blockbuster to Vince, and yes, I am so serious. And 2, I'm just surprised that it was that much of a landslide because Zach was looking like he was gaining some traction at first. First, he was able to pull Morgan over to his side by telling her all about his power, but things started to fall apart after that once Mickey got involved. Mickey was able to convince Morgan to switch back over to keeping Vince over Zach just because she felt like Vince would be a better shield in general, especially because people like Rachel would likely always target Vince before Mickey. Now, keep that piece of information as foreshadowing for later. But for now, Mickey is able to convince Morgan to vote out Zach here, and losing those 2 votes are going to be really important for him, especially because, you know, the main reason why Zach didn't even use his power was to protect Morgan's game, only to have her turn around and vote him out right after that. It's just, the irony is too much there. I think that Will had kept his word and voted to keep Zach mainly because of the whole veto prize thing, meaning that Rachel was really the only one standing on business that really wanted to get Vince out. So needless to say, her being at the bottom of this vote is just not helping her game at all. Rachel has already lost a lot of her closest people, and now she has different groups targeting her from like all sides of the house. So needless to say, heading into this HOH, things just honestly weren't looking that good for Rachel. So the feeds were off for kind of a long time for the HOH competition, and when they eventually returned, we were all shook to see that Rachel had indeed won and is our new HOH. And I mean, this win could not have come at a better time at all for her because she was looking cooked for a second. Apparently, it had all come down to Rachel and Morgan in the end, but Rachel was able to come out on top. So let's take a second to talk about where Rachel stands in the game, which, like I was saying, is really honestly not in a great spot at all. First, losing Jimmy and Amy was really bad for her, and now Mickey and Morgan have completely flipped on her for like separate reasons. And then there's Kelley, who's been coming for her since pretty much like the beginning of the game. I mean, Rachel's reads are pretty good, but overall she's just not in a great place socially. The people she can trust the most is probably Ava and Ashley, and since she's like really pro showman, she's been working a lot on her relationship with Rylie and Katherine too. So with all that being said, Rachel pretty much has a big pick of targets to choose from. And normally if this were any other week, I would feel pretty confident saying that her target would be Vince. But all this drama with all these other people is just going to make the choice that much more complicated. Rachel and Keanu have been trying to work on their relationship the best they can the past few weeks. It's just that Keanu is very stubborn and delusional, so he can be really difficult to work with. But even with all that being said, he's still a feasible number for Rachel to pull over to her side now, especially since they share a common enemy in Mickey and Morgan.
Right now, I think the biggest threat to our game is Mickey. She's not done. She keeps telling me like, oh, my biggest concern with you. She tells me my biggest concern with you is that you're with Rachel. My biggest concern with you is that you're with Rachel. No matter how many times I try to throw her off the scent, it doesn't work. So she's the biggest threat to me and you playing together. Once one of us gets her out, then we are bigger targets. You get what I'm saying?
Now, Rachel is being pretty secretive here, and she's not really telling anybody who she plans to nominate, like, at all whatsoever. So needless to say, people are starting to freak out around the house and spiral a little bit.
I don't see her taking it. It's probably not going to be Kelley. It's going to be Vince. We're saying it's going to be Vince. Because she's been looking at Vince since week 1. It's going to be me because of my connection to Vince. And it's going to be a third. shocked if it wasn't me.
I wouldn't be shocked if I saw your face.
But eventually she does end up telling most people that they're safe. There is a few people that she definitely leaves out though, so at this point we can start to see where her mind is going. Because notably, she's not really making any guarantees to Mickey or Morgan at all. Now, the one thing I will note is that Ashley and Ava both try to steer Rachel away from Mickey. See, Mickey was kind of on one last week and she was running around the house telling people all her plans, which did include Rachel's name. But now Ava and Ashley, since they're more cool with Mickey, are gonna go up to Rachel to kind of reassure her that Mickey was never actually coming for her. Now, Ashley is definitely steering Rachel away on purpose because, I mean, Mickey did do the same thing to her last week, so I get that. But Ava's over there playing dumb and at least acting like she doesn't remember Mickey throwing her under the bus, so there's that too.
I know that Mickey and Morgan were working together, but Mickey's never said anything to me about you.
Yeah, I know.
So, is that because she knows I am close with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could be.
So at this point, despite all that stuff, it still very much feels like Morgan and Mickey are about to hit the block. But again, Rachel hasn't said anything out loud to anybody, so we still don't know for sure. But things are going to start to get a little dicey when Mickey decides to go up to the HOH room and have one more last-minute conversation with Rachel before nominations. They pretty much get right to business here. Mickey asks Rachel what's up with the tension between them, and Rachel lets her know that she's felt really betrayed by Mickey ever since Jimmy was put on the block.
I feel very betrayed by you.
Why?
I feel like you didn't take my game into consideration.
When I got rid of Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I feel like after that, you kind of iced me out. I don't know, you like stopped talking to me. I wasn't even able to cook with you.
They end up going back and forth for a bit, with Mickey saying that she's never wanted Rachel up on the block, which of course is a complete lie. Mickey's also just trying to diminish this beef in general and claim that it all started from her end when she got into that fight with Morgan in the storage room, which also isn't really true. This conversation ends up going for a really long time, and I gotta admit, Mickey is trying pretty hard here. She even starts crying at one point and just keeps on saying over and over again how she was never coming for Rachel. Mickey also tries hard to throw Keanu under the bus, and she throws Kelley's name under there too. And for a second there, I'm not gonna lie, this conversation actually seems to really be working. Like at one point, Mickey actually tries to turn this entire thing around on Rachel and say that Rachel is actually the sus one for snitching on the heavy hitters. And Rachel is guilty for that, I can't lie there, but overall, I'm just really surprised with how remorseful she's acting throughout this whole thing. Like at one point, they start doing all this hugging and crying and talking about how they need to start over and mend things and all this stuff. And at this point, I'm starting to get like really, really nervous that Mickey's mist is like actually working.
Do you think that we can get a restart? I'm like,
I would like a restart.
just like move forward and...
I would like that. Would you like that?
Yeah.
I would like that. Feels weird. Especially because you're cool with my people and I'm cool with your people. We should probably just be people. I would like that, Rachel.
We should be people.
The feeds go off for nominations right in the middle of this conversation, but during the wait, I am honestly thinking that Mickey has somehow able to wrap Rachel right around her finger. But you know what? This is Rachel's third time around the block, so she is definitely not a fool. She's true to this, not new to this. And when the feeds came back on after noms, we saw that Vince, Morgan, and Mickey were all up on that block. Morgan is finally up in that HOH room talking to Rachel, trying to figure out what happened. She's obviously very upset, but you know what? She's actually taking it pretty well overall. They're able to at least agree that if the roles were reversed, then Rachel would probably be up on the block in her place. So at least these ladies were able to have a civil discussion out of the whole thing.
It was literally only because of that, like, blow up in the storage room that made me feel like you were coming for me.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. And should I have talked to you about it before? Sure. I just wish we would have talked about it more. so I could have had some more clarity. Yeah. You know, but we live and we learn.
That's right.
Truth.
Mickey, on the other hand, is going to have a very different reaction. I think that she thought that she had Rachel for a second, so now she's just doing all this crying and complaining and like really acting confused as to why she's up there.
She said she couldn't do it. She couldn't last in this game. And I said, Rachel, yes, you can. And I did send her home. I know. And she puts me up. She literally just had me upstairs saying, Vicky, all that stuff that you're saying is not true. I've never been coming for you. I love you. All this other stuff. And I'm not going to come for you. Can we do a reset? Can we restart? Do you forgive me?
Clearly, Mickey is very bitter, so she is starting to get a little mean, which so far this has all been behind Rachel's back, but you never know. Later on this week, the girlies could start fighting.
Talking about she's 40. She's 41. Let's be honest. All that lying y'all be doing. Oh, you like Rachel, you don't look a day over 26. You're a 26-year-old lie. I'm done being nice. I don't care.
Ashley in particular has already been working really, really hard to try to take the heat off of Mickey and get Rachel to maybe target somebody like Kelley and Keanu later on in the week instead.
Granted, Mickey, I've told you, I've never heard her say anything specifically, and you won't tell me where you got that from, that she's coming for you, but she's never told me that. I mean, I'm going to keep telling you that, 'cause that's all. I knew it. I just wish I put her up because she was with us.
I mean, she's still with you.
She was a much better ally. I know, but obviously I want us all to make it far. And she's a much more honest ally than fucking Keanu. I'm sorry. He's obviously telling them information to get you guys to target each other.
I know.
And you fell for it.
I didn't fall for it, Ashley. I have a plan.
Okay.
I think in some ways Ashley's maybe even pushing a little bit too hard, but hey, we'll just see where all this goes. So that is all I have for today. Of course, I want to know, what do you all think of Rachel's nominations? Do you think she put the right people on the block, or do you think she should have made another choice instead? Let me know in the comments below. I'm excited. I'm excited for the noms. I'm excited for the week. I'm excited for the pettiness. I can't lie. I think it's going to be a good one, y'all. Of course, I will be back right here sometime on Saturday or Sunday to update you all with what happens with the veto and where the house stands after that. But until then, bye.